there, Kirk and Beth fans. Today's little project is a new trailer connector and a new breakaway switch. I'm not sure if there's really anything wrong with the ones that are on the trailer, but I figure, well, why not have a new breakaway switch? And the existing cable is a little scabby and a little stiff. So let's get stuck in and see if we can get it replaced. So the cable I chose is this blue cable. It's made out of some sort of special rubber that doesn't get super stiff when it gets cold out, and it's supposed to be more weather resistant, so I spent a few extra dollars and got that cable. It's available through a bunch of different resellers. Nobody gave me a special deal on it, so I'm not going to give anybody any free advertising, but there's lots of places you can get the cable. So what you're going to want to do is see where your cable goes under the trailer, and then there's a little grommet up here that it goes through, and right the other side of the grommet there is a access panel. So let's pull this access panel down and see what sort of mess we find. And while I'm down here, I'm kind of looking at the belly pan rivets, and I see that I should probably spend a little bit of time replacing some. I have some of those rivets that have the extra big head on them that distribute the force out beyond, you know, what a regular small pop rivet would, and I can see that I am going to need to spend some time back here on the belly pan, because who knows when the last time anybody did that was. So always a good idea if you're underneath the trailer to have a look at everything, as long as you're in the neighborhood. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, this doesn't look too horrible. The last time I did this was on our 24-foot Avion Holiday, and I was able to eliminate a whole bunch of spliced in wiring when I redid it. This one, from what I can see so far, it looks like they use those plastic vampire connectors up there, which repair places love because they're quick. I'm not a huge fan of them, but from looking up here, it looks like, yeah, they don't look too bad. Of course, I've got to cut them out to put the new cord in. This might be the original cord from the way things look in here. Anyway, also in here there's sort of this mystery box. I wonder what this is for. But what I will do is get up in here with a little bit better light and see which cables are for the cord, and then I'll go inside the trailer and cut all the power, just so I don't have anything back feeding through the power lead on this, and then wire in the new cable. So before we go any further, I am going to make sure that there's no power in the circuit, just as an added precaution. I know there's only one wire among all those wires that should have any electricity going to it, but since I'm going to be undoing wiring and some wiring might be laying against a ground or something, I'm just going to be extra careful. So I'm going to pull the main. Then we're going to go inside the coach. Work in progress, folks. I'm going to go ahead and turn the battery off. I'm going to go ahead and pull all of the circuit breakers. And since I pulled the battery switch, I shouldn't have to touch the 12 volts, so it should all be fine, because pulling the battery should isolate everything. If I was going to be really anal retentive, I could pull all these fuses real quick. All right, we have a 7-pin connector. That means 7 wires. They are color-coded. This cable even has a key that tells me what each color should be. What we're going to do is make sure that underneath here I can put my eye on each one of these colors and see where they all go before I disconnect anything. Alright, so the cable, you can't really see it very well, but it's behind there. It's like right there where you can see the black and brown wire coming from the sort of black shielding there, where there's that piece of tape. That is the pigtail. From outside, right above all those ground wires. So that runs back to all of these wire nuts. So I'm going to trace back each color. If I have to, I'll take a piece of tape and mark, if something goes to a color where it's not obvious, but obviously if the green goes to all the other greens and the blue goes to all the other blues, I can already see that's not the case. It shouldn't be too hard. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to take a razor knife and I'm going to cut that little piece of electrical tape there, and then that will allow me to slide the cable deeper in here where I have a little bit more slack and I can work on things. Also, I noticed that they put a knot on the inside of here so it doesn't pull out of the grommet. So I will do that as well when I replace it. Alright, so looking at these, the green wire goes to the green wire, and the red wire goes to the red wire, except for the blue wire goes to these black wires, and then the black wire goes to these other black wires. So I will mark those with a piece of tape so I don't get them confused. And then what we'll do is when they put the white wire from the pigtail to the chassis, they merged it. So this has to be the original cable. They merged it with this other ground wire that is probably the main ground for the coach. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is cut this one when I take the cable out. And then I need to find another crimp-on lug connector. I need to back this out, which I need to take it out to get the cable out anyway. I need to back that out, and then I'll clean all this up so I get to make sure the ground is good. And then put a new crimp lug connector on there and bolt it all together, and it should be fine. So this shouldn't be too bad. All right, here is everything all dropped down where we can see it. And what I think I will do is take the old wires that go to the pigtail and just cut them off. And then one by one, where the blue wire is hanging, I will undo the connector and put the new blue wire where the old blue wire was, color by color, and that should be fine. And then I found another lug connector to go on that white connector, or that white wire from the 7-pin, and that should get us where we need to be. And there it is, the all new blue cable, all wired in, all taped up, all ready to go. I am going to hook the truck up and check all the wiring before I put this access panel back in place. Okay, the sun is in exactly the wrong position, but hopefully you can see us. Here's the breakaway switch, and that's that. Alright, here's the sun's in the wrong spot here, but here's the breakaway switch. And you can see the wire, it's not hooked up to anything, so we'll fix that. And that's pretty straightforward. You just unbolt the old one and wire in the new one. Put some extra tape on that to keep it tidy. And there's the new breakaway switch. So simple as that. That one's really easy because there's only two wires. Doesn't matter which way you hook them up. Either way is good. That's all for now. Like, subscribe. Let me know if these are helpful or if I am just talking to myself.